Hello everybody and welcome to part 11 of What If Peter Parker Was in the My Hero Academia universe. If you haven't seen the previous parts, I really suggest you do so. There will be a link both in the description below and the annotation above. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and if you enjoy the video, please leave a like. Before we start, I actually want to ask, since we are approaching the end of the season slowly, like there are about 3-4 episodes left, I want to ask, after I'm done with season 3, do you guys want me to continue with the story in the manga, or do you want me to wait until season 4 is fully out? Let me know in the comments or YouTube, or there will also be a poll in the eye icon if you guys want to vote there. Yeah. In the previous episode, Peter made a new friend, Gwen Stacy. Now in this episode, while Midoriya goes to the pool for endurance training with Kaminari and Mineta, when Midoriya invites the rest of the class to the endurance training, Peter can't go because he already made plans with both Gwen and Harry. They went to a park and hung out. They later went to the lab where Peter and Harry showed Gwen the projects they were working on, to which she had a couple of notes on the strength and webbing, because she actually studies a bit of biology. She's very good at that. Now they say goodbye at the end of the day and go their separate ways. The day of training camp arrives. Class 1A and B get ready to board the bus, and they have that little episode, that little interaction they have with Monoma before they get on the actual bus. Now on the bus, when everyone is kind of goofing off, having fun, Peter grabs his satchel. It's kind of like a side bag, and starts tinkering with his web shooters. Midoriya asks him what he's doing, and Peter answers, working a bit, adjusting while aiming the web shooter, like he's aiming it and adjusting it. I don't have enough material to make a new version here, but I can't waste time. I have to use it wisely, as he's now using a screwdriver to work on the web shooter. I have to do better, otherwise I'll lose easily, like in the sports festival. After all, like Cap said in my internship, your power, your tools, your tech, they're each only one tool in your arsenal to use. Make them as good as possible, but don't rely too much on them. And Midoriya kind of looks amazed at Peter, like, oh my god, this kid knows what he's doing. They arrive and think it's a break, like to stretch their legs, go to the bathroom and whatnot. While Peter gets out, still working on the web shooter, and says done, he puts the web shooters back in his satchel he has on. As he stretches his legs, the teachers come out, like the pussycats, and as they start explaining, his spider sense starts going off, and he wonders what could trigger it. They're not at the training camp yet. Then he realizes what's gonna happen and says, ah, poop. Then it's explained what they are doing there and their objective, and they are thrown into the forest like they do in the anime. Like, that's actually what kind of triggered his spider sense. Peter grabs his mask and web shooter, since the mask kind of has a heads-up display. From the satchel, like he grabs them from the satchel because he's the only one smart enough to actually bring his bag with him. He, along with the rest of the class, start going through the forest until they get to the training camp. And they get an apology from Pixie Bob, like the sorry, we thought you would be here earlier, we kind of judged it on our time. Then she points out who the best in the group were: Bakugo, Peter, Midoriya, Ida, and Todoroki. Midoriya asks about Koda just to get the kick in the balls, like he does in the anime, and the rest goes pretty much like in the anime. They get their luggage and have dinner, and then and then they go to the bathrooms, like not to the bathrooms, to the water, to the little thermal water where they relax. Where this time, after Mineta tries to see the girls, Koda falls. This time Peter also jumps to catch him, but Midoriya is faster because of one for all, and saves Koda first. Midoriya goes to take Koda to get some first aid, and he gets told the story of Koda's parents that he later tells Peter. And Peter actually relates a lot to the story that he's told. The next day, early in the morning, Aizawa gets the students together and tells them that they will be doing quirk reinforcement training. And Bakugo does the ball throw, only to realize that he didn't throw it much farther than last time. Like, everyone is kind of surprised at this. And Aizawa explains the purpose of the training camp. The students start training. Later, when Class B joins them, and they are kind of scared, like they're in the anime and what the fudge is happening. Now we all know the training that every other student does, since we actually see it in the anime. Here I'm just going to say what Peter does. Peter has a big and diverse set of powers and abilities. First, I would say that they would probably prohibit him from using his tech like web shooters, mask, and whatnot for the whole trip, since he's too reliant on those from their eyes. So he doesn't have access to the web shooters. And for the actual training, they would probably have him try to dodge Pixie Bob's dirt golems while being blindfolded, ears covered, so he cannot feel anything but his spider sense. Basically making him full reliant on it so he can improve it. Like, that's what they would do for a certain point. They would also have him doing regular, like, reinforcement training, like with Midoriya, because of Peter's enhanced stats. And have him actually try to shoot webs organically, since he can create them, but can't really shoot them. Now, the part where they cook goes the same, and when Midoriya goes to find Koda, Peter goes with him. And when Midoriya shares his life story on the whole quirkless thing, Peter shares what it was like for him when his parents died. Well, Koda, you see, my parents were pro heroes too. They died while on the job, just like yours. And up until this point, about 2 years ago, I thought I was quirkless. When they died, I was 9. I was devastated, but I had my Aunt May and my uncle to take care of me. And I had my little brothers to take care of myself. You can't focus on the negatives in life, on who leaves you. You have to focus on the positive, who you have left. Your parents, like mine, died saving others, so that other people's families, ordinary ones, who don't have the power or training that your parents did, can live a normal life and don't have to suffer the same fate. As my uncle once said before he died, because he didn't have a hero like our parents, with great power there must also come great responsibility. That's why heroes have to do what they do. Koda still has the same reaction externally, but truthfully he's very touched in the interior. Like, he actually relates a lot to what Peter told him. And Peter and Midoriya leave, with Midoriya asking questions about the story his friend just told, and Peter actually getting a few pieces of a puzzle together in his head about the whole One for All thing. Unbeknownst to them, a group of villains, a bit larger than the main continuity, gathered to attack the camp. Now the next day goes pretty much the same, except Aizawa doesn't scold Uraraka and Peter, because in this continuity they did better than the original, like, yeah. Until the test of courage. Peter gets paired with Yaoyorozu, like that's who Aoyama got paired with, so I'm pairing him with Yaoyorozu. And while taking the test of courage, they talk until the attack starts. Now I'm going to say that Peter just vanishes, like, and Yaoyorozu is left to do what she did in the anime. Like, she wonders where Peter is for a moment, but then realizes that villains are attacking and she has to react. Now, Peter actually got kidnapped by a flying person, and a few moments later he is thrown to the ground by the flying person. He looks up, seeing a man covered in something black and white, kind of making a spider symbol in the chest. Peter angrily whispers, "Venom." Venom looks down at him saying, "Oh, another spider for me to devour. Just like your parents." Vulture, go do your thing. Vulture actually stays there instead of following Venom's orders. Peter's having some huge emotions, like very angry. Um, because of what Venom just said. He gets up and attacks Venom, like with a punch. Venom dodges easily and grabs Peter's arm he just punched with, the one he tried to punch him with, and breaks it, like just breaks it, like snaps it. Peter screams in pain. Peter screams in pain. Ah! And Venom says, "Okay, I'm bored now. Time to die." And then Venom tries to slash at Peter. After having his arm broken, Peter actually calmed down a bit, and he manages to mostly dodge Venom's attacks. Like, his clothes get a bit broken, but he doesn't get damaged. But they did manage to pierce Peter's shirt, and a bit of blood comes out, actually. Venom grabs some vials and puts Peter's blood in them. Like, he can move the part that just grabbed the blood and puts them in some vials that he stores in his body. And realizes, Venom then tries to attack Peter, but thanks to Cap's training, Peter's moves are harder to guess and more acrobatic. So Venom can't really hit him until Peter jumps over Venom and tries to web up Venom in the air. Like, he tries to shoot webs from the air. And realizes in midair he doesn't have his web shooters. Venom says, Vulture a little help, and Vulture, who I'm gonna say is a human Vulture, like his quirk is Vulture. Close to the Noir version, he's a bit cannibalistic. Tries to tackle Peter in the air. Peter is using his spider sense a lot more, like his spider sense has become more reliable than usual, and manages to to actually jump over Venom. Vulture. I'm actually doing this, he thinks to himself, while he's actually managing to beat them. Getting closer and closer to Dobby's fire area, knowing from the database that the hero database that Venom is weak to fire. Now, while this is going on, Bakugo is actually using his huge explosions to keep the villains at bay, like Moonfish, and after beating Moonfish, gets kidnapped by Compress. Kind of improvisation on Compress's side. This time, because in the original anime it was a planned kidnapping, which actually means that that after Deku saves Koda, he would go back to the camp and go back with the teachers instead of going to save Bakugo, because Bakugo isn't their target. Now, toward the end of the fight against Venom and Vulture, Peter is actually getting tired. While fighting, and Venom is slapping him around more and more. After getting hit into a tree with full force, Peter gets up saying, "Ah, come on, Spider-Man." Venom laughs, "Spider-Man? Seriously, that's your name?" Peter replies, "Yeah, and I'm amazing." As Vulture tackles Peter again, Peter ducks and webs his eyes, like webs Vulture's eyes, being very surprised having used organic webbing through a lot of determination. While Peter is marveling at what he just did, Venom actually grabs Peter and says, "You know, kid, your parents ruined my life." He pulls down the mask, like the Venom mask, thing, revealing his face. "And now I'm going to ruin their family." He then throws Peter at the forest, throwing him through a bunch of trees, hitting a rock wall eventually, and a couple of boulders fall from the top of the wall on Peter. They fall on Peter. Venom and Vulture get close, and they get a call, like the time to leave from Dobby. Venom says, "See you later, Spider." He pauses, and then he says, "Man," and they leave. Peter's left under the boulders. Peter's left there calling for help while everyone back at camp is dealing with what just happened. Peter stays there panicking. "Help! Help!" he screams. Then he remembers everything that has happened to him and says, "Come on, Spider-Man. Come on, you can do this." And he lifts the boulders off him, summoning all his strength to do so. He jumps out of the way, and as he falls on the ground, he passes out. He's very badly hurt and damaged, and trying to get back to camp. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to leave a like if you did like it. and subscribe if you are new to the channel. If you have any suggestions or anything, or on anything, be it a new What If series or something you want to see in the series, if you want to continue seeing with season 4, leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching and have a nice day, everyone.